What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. Caleb Plant versus Anthony Dirrell. This is serving as the co-main event of the Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius fight, and I really think it is going to be a good one. Let's get into it, right? This is Caleb Plant's first fight since last year, where we saw he was inside the ring with Canelo Alvarez, in which he lost that fight by 11-round knockout. But I will say this, I learned a couple things about Caleb Plant, right? When I saw him fight Truax, I was thinking to myself, man, this is not a good performance from Caleb Plant. If this is the type of Caleb Plant that we are seeing now, I don't think the fight against Canelo Alvarez would last more than 7 rounds. But I was wrong in that sense. I was also wrong because I did not think that Caleb Plant had a chin like he did. He took some big shots against Canelo, and he stood there and didn't back down. So a lot of respect gained for Caleb Plant. And in my opinion, even though that loss, I think his stock went up a little bit more, even though he did lose that fight. But here's the thing, right? When someone who hasn't lost before, he's coming into this one with his first loss. But a loss can do 2 things to you. You can learn from your loss and you can get better. Or when you lose, you can start to become a shell of yourself. I don't think Caleb Plant is going to come into this one a shell of himself. I think he's going to come in, he's going to be confident, and he's going to get back into his groove and his rhythm. That's the goal, but we still have to see it. But let's get into it. Caleb Plant, he's got quick hands. He's a good counter puncher, nice jab, good movement in the ring. He's got that shoulder roll type of defense, right? Caleb Plant, to me, is a very good technical boxer, very disciplined. Caleb Plant, to me, seems like that guy where he's going to do exactly what his coach says. If his coach says, Caleb, I need you to jab to the body and hook to the head, that's what he is going to do. And he executes that very well. Now, in his fight against Canelo, despite what many people might say, I actually thought that he fought pretty well in that fight. I just think he got to a point where he didn't have anything else to really show Canelo. He showed him all of his best things, and Canelo also didn't respect the power, right? Caleb Plant doesn't have that devastating power, right? He's not a guy who is going to knock you out in one shot. He's a guy that is going to be cerebral in his attach. He's a thinker. He's going to try and break you down and make you frustrated, where he can land his jabs, land the body shots, use the footwork to slip in and to slip out. But he doesn't have that knockout type of power. Not that he can't knock people out. Obviously, he's got, 12, 13 knockouts on his resume. But at this level, against these top caliber guys, he's not going to fight outside of his natural ability and his natural skill set. And that is to be a boxer, to be calculated with his approach, to be calculated with the risks that he takes. To me, that's Caleb Plant. He doesn't have that punching power to really hurt his opponents, to back them up, yes, but not back them up long enough where they have to be cautious about coming in. And when you don't have that power and your opponent knows that you don't have that power, right? It's only a matter of time until his opponent starts to pick up the tempo and start to pressure Plant. Then the question will he be able to weather the storm? Canelo did that in the 11th round, and he wasn't able to weather the storm because Canelo started closing the gap in the middle rounds and started breaking down the body round to round before started to find his opening. But once the pressure was on in the later rounds, Caleb got caught, and it was lights out after that. While I'm not comparing Canelo and Dirrell as the same boxer, Anthony Dirrell does have that power, does have that pop. Could it be a matter of time before he finds his opening and possibly impose that same feat against Caleb Plant? I think Plant is a tough night for any of the top contenders in that division. While Caleb Plant might not be the favorite in some of those matchups, I don't think anybody beats him convincingly. His speed, his quickness, and his slickness can frustrate almost anyone. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like this weekend, right? Caleb has a lot of tools in his skill set, but when you lose, you aren't always the same, especially confidence-wise. And in boxing, how you lose matters as well. He got knocked out by Canelo, and sometimes a knockout loss can make you anxious, it can make you hesitant, and it can mess with your head moving forward. So for me, that is the biggest question for me, not his physical skill set. We know he's talented. We know he has a lot of good things to work with, but the mentality wise, where is his mind at after a loss? That is the bigger question for me more than the physical side of the fight. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds when he does get hit. But let's talk about Anthony Dirrell, 37 years old, 34 wins, 2 losses, 25 by way of knockout. This is the first fight for him as well. In the last fight that we saw of him against Marcos Hernandez, he had a knockout of the year candidate. I mean, that vicious uppercut, man, that was filthy, right? I felt bad for Marcos Hernandez, right? But it was a wicked knockout. That's one of those shots that Caleb Plant will have to be cautious of, right? Anthony Dirrell's counter-punching ability and the accuracy in his shots. Dirrell has good power. He's an accurate puncher. He goes to the body well, good combination puncher, especially as the fight goes on. The more confident he gets, he's a skilled boxer who does a lot of things well and has pop behind his shots. He's also an experienced guy as well, and he's experienced enough to know what to do at the right time and be able to anticipate what his opponents is going to do. But let's go back to 2 fights in particular that are on the top of my mind. When he fought Benavidez, right, he was just outmatched against the bigger, faster, and more powerful man. And while he fought well, Benavidez at this stage in his career was just better. He had moments against him, but not enough to stop the pressure and the relentless pursuit of David Benavidez. Benavidez had a lot of success using that jab, and Caleb uses the jab well. I'm expecting success for Caleb Plant in that aspect. Fight after that against Kyron Davis, whom I think fought very well in that fight, but I think Kyron Davis should stay at 160 instead of 168. But nonetheless, he fought very well in that fight. But I also think Anthony Dirrell kind of underestimated Kyron Davis and didn't really start taking him seriously until later in the fight. But by then, it was a little bit too late. I mean, some of those rounds were pretty close depending on what you were looking for. But Davis and Plant do similar things, right? They jab well, they counter well, and land tight combinations and accurate when they do it. When Dirrell gets pressured and goes on the defense, he tends to shell up a little and wait for his opponent to finish and trying to catch them on the way out. And Caleb keeps everything tight and in range. I'm expecting to see a lot of jabs by Caleb, combinations to the body, angle changes, and constant movement in the ring. Anthony Dirrell, I think, will be the aggressor in this fight, but I don't think he'll be able to hit Caleb cleanly enough to win this fight. At this stage in their careers, I just think Caleb Plant is sharper, he's more accurate, he's better defensively. I could see Caleb hitting the same spot every time he shoots that jab, and maybe even opening up a cut, because Dirrell does have a tendency to get cut above that eye. But on the other side of it, it's a fight, right? And anything can happen. Dirrell has that power and that accuracy to land one clean flush shot, and it could be lights out for Caleb Plant. But I don't think that will happen this weekend. I have Caleb Plant winning by decision in this one. This is a very good lineup of fights this weekend. But what are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple of ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly appreciated. If you'd like to follow me on social media, please do. My social media handles will be on screen as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this time, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.